In 2011, my guest, Martin Janzigs, found a large stone on a building site, took it home simply to train with, never imagining that that same stone would turn him into the StoneMan and one of the leading voices in preserving the tradition of Scottish stone lifting. In this episode, we discuss the remarkable story behind the stone, its journey across the Atlantic Ocean to America, what the stone represents to Martin, and why he believes that lifting a stone can build far more than just strength. I am your host, the Stone Lord of Stone Lore, Wolfgar, and this is the Stone Lore Podcast. All right, well, Martin, thank you for taking the time out of your day to sit down with me again. I'm happy to have you here.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Well, we're sitting down to talk about Clach Fear Alba, and you were telling me the proper pronunciation is Clach Fear Alba, and
Clach Fear Alba.
Yes, and can you what does that translate to?
It translates as StoneMan of Scotland, because Clach is stone, Fear is man, and Alba is Scotland. So
Nice.
Clach Fear Alba, StoneMan of Scotland.
Yeah, and this is a very special stone, and it's got an interesting story that we wanted to cover here on the podcast. Before we get down too deep into that story, I'd like to go back to 2011 when you were. Your challenge was to lift the Inverstone, right? And when you decided you wanted to lift the Inverstone, did you decide, okay, I want to train for this, I need to find a stone to train with, or what was your mentality going into that challenge?
No, it's completely reverse from that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, what it was, I mean, right now for my work, I'm a draftsman just now. I do like engineering drawings for fabricators and welders to create big steel structures for them. I do all the engineering drawings and give the instructions to them to what to do and stuff. But before that, I was a builder. I did my apprenticeship and worked as a builder for maybe six years. But then I kind of got fed up with it, and I went down that path. But when I was, I think it was when I was going through my apprenticeship at the time. I was on a building site. We were digging a foundation to put up a new build. And it was an extension to a house,
okay,
or a garage. I can't remember. We're digging foundations. Then the digger driver pulled out this big stone out of the ground. It was the Clach Fear Alba. And back then, I never really knew anything about stone lifting. I never knew the historic stones existed or anything like that. And all I did was kind of go to the gym and train and just do my own thing, really. Yep. But then, because I was always used to lifting like heavy and awkward objects from my work, because I worked in the construction sites on and off since I left school. Different jobs until I got my apprenticeship and I stayed as a builder. But then I was used to, like, even when I was slating, I used to be a slater when I left school, fixing roofs, and I used to get slates, because there used to be 4 of us in the squad, and when I had put enough slates up in the scaffolding, I could then learn how to slate as well. But I had to go be a labourer first. So I used to get big handfuls of slates until I couldn't reach any further. Then up on my shoulder, and then up a ladder, you see. And on building sites, I was used to lifting concrete blocks and big 6-foot lintels and stuff on my shoulder and walking from A to B. So I ended up taking 4 concrete blocks home from work, and I used to train with them in the back garden, again for just doing something different than just instead of doing weights.
Okay.
And then I thought to myself, it'd be good to get a stone someday and maybe lift that, It just kind of popped in my head one night. I was just sitting there, I wonder what it'd be like to lift a stone. So then, like a week later, this stone was dug out the ground, and I said, I'm going to take it home. So I took it home and I started training with it and just lifting it. But I didn't know what I was doing. I was just kind of
Right.
going through the motions and that. Because back then, because really when like the teaching folk how to do it and stuff was kind of something I brought to the table.
Yes.
So when I first got the stone, there was no really instructions or anything how to lift stones and that.
Right.
Um, but I started training with it, and I got a metal barrel from work and a tire, and I tried to load the stone onto the barrel, but it took me a while even to get up onto the barrel. It took me like a month or so to get it onto the barrel.
Okay.
Um, the day I put it into the pickup, I managed to pick it up on my lap and load it into the pickup. But it took like probably like 15 minutes or something, you know. And then I remember I put it in the pickup and I just swear it, I couldn't
Yeah.
control it at the time, so it smashed down at the back of the pickup. And the guy in the front, he was having his cup of tea, and his cup of tea went out the window. He was, ah!
Oh no.
I never realised how much a bang it was going to make. But so I took that stone home and trained with it. And then, like a few months later, I thought, because I'm getting quite strong and that, and I'm strong at work and stuff, I can lift heavy and awkward objects and that. So I used to like pick up the cement mixer and put it in the back of the pick up the stuff myself because I was just fed up of waiting for someone to come and help you do things. So I used to do everything myself.
Yeah.
So I went home one day and started looking up like StoneMan competitions to see if I could maybe do something with them with the strength that I've got. But back then, it was really just like open kind of comps, like open Scotland's Strongest Man and World's Strongest Man and stuff like that.
Sure. Yep.
So I didn't think Giants Live was going to go at the time. I think it came in, was that later on it came in? But it was only open competitions.
Okay.
Even Giants Live was an open competition as well. So it wasn't really 105s or nothing like that. So
Yep.
I was on like, I think back then I was like 15 and a half stone or something, or
Okay.
maybe even lighter. So if I wanted to compete, I would have had to go up to like 18, 19 stone.
Right.
I'm only like 5'8" and a half or something. So I would have ended up being like a balloon.
Right.
And I didn't want to do that because the heaviest I've ever been is like 17 and a half stone
Okay.
in my life. And I felt really unfit at
Yeah.
that weight. And I came back. This now I'm sitting maybe I'm just under 17 stone just now. But I feel fit at this weight. But I'm
Sure.
still trying to come down to like back to 105, what I used to be, but was my best weight that I felt more comfortable at and healthier.
Right.
Um, so I knew if I put the weight on and to try and compete against these guys, I would have ended up being unhealthy, and you never know what could have
Yeah.
happened. My heart could have given out with all this stuff, and you know. Um,
Right.
so I scrolled for like an hour or so after that again because I couldn't find the hand, and I kept scrolling, see if something would pop up, and then I came across the story of Emberstone. I'm drabbling on a bit here, but
No, it's good. It's good.
when I start speaking, I don't stop. I came across the Emberstone story, and I thought because I was training with a stone in the back garden, it took my interest. And I read the article with Peter Martin, and he wrote about the stone and how people from like America and stuff have came to lift it, and there was a story behind it's like Donald Denny and everything. And
Yeah.
I already heard of him before from because he was like a great Scottish athlete. I heard of him
Yes.
before then. So when I read about his name, that then took my interest again. Um, so it was. So then that's when I agreed to go and meet Peter. Can I phone? I got in touch with Peter because his email address was there. So I wrote to him, and he agreed to meet me like 3 months after that at Crathy, where the stone used to sit. And
Okay.
then we went into the pub first because the pub was still there at the time. It's a hotel now, I think. So we went and sat in the pub for like half an hour, and he showed me his book and all his research and stuff, the research he had over the years, and his dad collected. And then I went across the Met June, and I lifted a stone a couple of times, and then we had a cup of tea and a biscuit with June and spoke for a half hour or so. But then even then, when I lifted Emberstone, I just wanted to see if I could get it even up on my lap. I didn't
Yeah.
even care if I could do that, because I was still struggling with the stone at home. I loaded it to the barrel once or twice, but I tried to do it more again quite a lot of times and didn't wasn't successful. So I didn't even care if I could get the Emberstone up, up close enough to put it on my lap,
Right.
over my knees. But then, so I got a grip, I held, picked it up onto my lap, and then I thought, "Oh, I'll see if I can stand up with it." So I grabbed it and stood up with it, and then just out of um, pure instinct from being at
Mhm.
work, and always putting things on my shoulder at work to go from A to B because it's easier to carry on your shoulder than it is to hold here and compress you against your
Yeah.
chest, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so then I just up here and without thinking about it, just went up on my shoulder, and then next it was I had it up here, put it down, and then Peter says, "Right, I'm going to film it, go and do it again." So I did it again, like,
Oh,
and
nice.
then I took it up again. But then this time I took my hand off, okay? Um, and that was really the beginning. I think that was actually the beginning of when people started to take the hand off for doing the shoulders and that. Before it was just always up here, but then I took my hand off, and I think that was really what started doing that because I kept doing it all the time.
Huh.
Um, and then I put the stone down, but then if it wasn't for, I think, getting the Clach Fear Alba stone from whack, finding it, um, I would have never read the story about the Emberstone. It wouldn't have, 'cause it wouldn't have
Okay.
took my interest. It only took my interest because I was already training with a stone at home.
Yeah.
That's the only reason it took my interest, you see. Um, and it wasn't for having that stone in the first place, then I probably wouldn't have been involved in stone lifting. I mean, I would have probably got into stone lifting now. If the things were the same as they are just now, I would eventually picked it up at some point. If I seen other people getting all over the place doing it, the way it is now
Right.
in social media and stuff.
Yep.
Um, but then I wouldn't have kind of met Josh or met yourself, or I wouldn't have met Peter or
Yeah.
done Hart, couldn't done any of the stuff I've done.
Right.
I went to America or anything. Uh, I wouldn't have wrote the books I've been in Stoneland or
Yep.
anything like that if it wasn't for getting that Clach for Alba stone that day at the building site. I wouldn't be who I am today. Wouldn't have for that stone. I would have never have lifted Ember stone and anything. Everything dates back to that Clach for Alba stone. That's why when Josh asked for a stone, I gave him that one because for me that's my most important stone, and it's got my because it's the one that started everything for me. You
Yeah.
know,
Whose idea was it to decide to send it to America?
it was a kind of because when I used to go to New Hampshire games all the time, I was there for like 5 years lifting stones over there,
Yeah.
and then I remember saying back then, maybe it was 2019, maybe that I might kind of I would like to take a stone over from Scotland and keep it here at New Hampshire games and use it here every year.
Hmm.
Um, but at the time, they seemed kind of interested, but then I changed my mind, and then Josh had mentioned it after um, the Cluck band from Ireland went over. Josh had then mentioned um, the Stump Scotland went over, and then it never had a name until Josh wanted it to go over there, and then I gave it a name just so we can uh, keep the history going. Everyone knows what they're lifting, you know.
Yes. Yep.
And then that's when I decided to do the 1,000 lifts of the stone as well. So I wanted
Yeah.
because it had so much of my history in it previously, um, going back to when if I never got that stone, I would never have been involved in stone lifting in the first place.
Right.
Um, so it's all because of that one stone. Um, but it's a long kind of story to tell everyone, you know. So I wanted to do something like which I thought was a bit special, and do lift it 1,000 times. So then that could be the story where I've lifted it. In
Yeah.
training, I've lifted it over 1,000 times. So it's easier to say that than go and say, well, if it wasn't for that stone, I would never have been involved in blah blah blah. Okay?
Right. Right.
So, but I wanted to do something for my kid myself because it's going over there, and so I mean, I wouldn't have had time to do that much with it over there, just like on a day or at Josh's, where it sits now. But so I wanted to do something again, special for me to put more of myself
Yeah.
into the history of that stone, you know.
Right.
That's when the 14-week challenge started, uh, which was going to go on for like 18 weeks. I planned it for, but I ended up doing it quicker than I thought.
Oh,
So
really?
it was going to, again. I finished it in which March March the 14th. I finished it on, and I started it on December 13th,
Okay.
2025. But I was going to go right up to April, into I thought maybe the end of April, the first week of May. It was going to go. It was going to take me. Um, but then I would just kept lifting it every single day almost. And
Was
then,
it?
you know, I was working at home on the computer because I work at home again 2 3 days a week as well.
Okay.
Because I'm getting stuck with my laptop at home and I was working there, and then I would go and like you can only do so much on a computer before you need a break. You know, your eyes start to
Yeah.
go and your head starts. Oh no, can't think anymore. You know,
Yes.
so I would go outside in the garden, lift the stone 12 times or 20 times, back in, and then sit there and start working again. You know,
Nice.
and
Yeah.
then I would take like my daughter to her gymnastics or a swimming class, and then I would come back in, and while tea was cooking, I'd go and lift like 12 or 20 times, you know,
Wow.
and then
It's a
just
full
kept.
workout.
Uh, so almost every day I would just start, you know, lifting like through the day. I would usually get like 30, 32 to maybe like 54, 70 lifts.
Oh my gosh.
Um, so I just kept going and kept going.
Were there days that you were like, "I'm not feeling it, I can't do it," or did you try to do it every
Oh,
single
there
day?
was a lot of them, like,
Oh, yeah.
but then on day one, the very first day I did it in it was the December, so it wouldn't have been the holidays. Um, it would have been, it must have been like a Saturday or a Sunday, a weekend. And I remember it was snowing, and I thought, right, I'm going to go in because I spoke to Josh on the phone. I said, I'm going to go and lift this thing 1,000 times. Yeah. And he said, oh, but I says, "Right, you might need to get that, like." And I says, well, I'm going to do it. And he says, that's a bit mental, like. And then I thought, you guess aye, I'm going to do it. So I outside, and it was starting to snow. So I thought, oh, I'm just going to do it, and I was going to keep lifting. So the first time I lifted it up, I hadn't lifted it for months, a long time, quite a while. And then so I had to work out again the best way for me to lift it, best position for it
Mhm.
to be in.
Yep.
So I did a few rows and that, turned it a few rows again, and then I found my position. So I picked it up and I got a single rep, and I thought, oh, that's one down, like. And
Right.
then 999 to go, like.
Yeah.
And then I thought to myself, well, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to have to focus every time I come out here.
Mm.
So so I did another 9 lifts that day to get double figures, and then I decided that every day I would get out for every session I would have. I might have 2 or 3 sessions in one day, but every session
Wow.
I would always hit double figures. I would never like go back out and lift it like 3 times and go back in again. I
Right.
would always make myself get double figures every time.
Wow.
So the minimum I do is 10, and then later, and then like maybe 6 weeks after that, the minimum I would always do was 12,
Okay.
12 to 16. So I always did. I worked up to always do sets of 4. So every set
Nice.
I did was like a set of 4. So I'd always hit at least 3 sets of 4 or 4 sets at least, So 12 or 16. And then I might go and do it again like a few hours after that and get another 12 or 16. So
Wow.
getting through the day, I was getting it was adding up.
Yes.
And then it was all like a mind process because I would get my 12 and I thought, well, I can get 12. Even when out some days and I lifted up, I thought, oh, this feels like 150 kilograms. This can.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but then I told myself, well, I'm not stopping until I get my double figures. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep going until I get my double figures. So um, I would get my set of 4 because I thought, well, D1, I can get 2. If I can get 2, I can get a 3. If I D 4, if I can
Mm.
D3, I can D my 4. That's my set complete.
Mhm.
I rest for getting 3 to 5 minutes, like, and then I go and do an R4, and I says, like, that's 8. I've got my 8, I can do an R4. Easy, get my 12. And then I go and do my 12. I thought, well, for D12, I can D16. So I go and D16, and say I want to get like 30 out there or something. I think, well, I get 16 and R4, it's only 20. And that's 20 of it just for an R4, that's 20. And then if I'm 20, that's only 10, which is usually I do 12 for a commute. So I thought, I can do an R10 easy enough. So I'd go and work up the 30 again. And then I'll just keep doing it like that. I keep telling myself after every set, if I can do 2 sets and get the 8, I can do the 12 easy enough. If I
Mm.
can do the 12, one more set of 4 is going to be 16. If I can do that, I'm halfway to 32. I'll keep going. You know, it was just a mind thing all the time.
Yeah.
Same with the counting. I would only look at. I would never look at the 1,000 reps in one go. I would always look at the 100 at a time.
Right.
Because say I did like on Monday, I might do, let's say, 30 reps. And I think, well, if I go and do another 20 or Wednesday or 25, then that's more than half the 100. It's 55. I've
Right.
only got
Right.
45 to go before I get the 100. So
Yep.
I've broke. I'm more than halfway there. So I
Yeah.
just kept thinking like that,
Yep.
and just thinking, well, if I can do this, I can do that. If I can do that, I can do that.
Yes.
It
Yeah.
was all in mind. Same when I did the tire flip for 24 hours and that.
Right.
It was just, and I just thought of it about an hour at a time. I thought, well, if I can do this, I can do an hour. I can do an hour.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
we train, I go and like flip it like four, again 300 or 400 times in a training session. And I think if I get 100, I can do an 100 to get 200. If I'm doing that, I can get 250. If I can get 250, it's only an hour 50 to get 300. So I'll keep
Yeah.
going.
Yeah.
It's all a mind process. Just saying, I can do this, I can
Right.
do that. And then that's a skill I've then kind of got put to everything I've done. Even with studying. If I can do this question, I can go and do that one. And then I've only got like three or four questions to go and study after that. Then I can do that one. You know, it's just it's the same kind of process I've used everything all the time with everything I do. If I can do this, then I can do that. And if I can get to that point, then I can easily go and get to that point. I've come this far. I've came this far. I was all going to get to that point now. You know.
Yeah. Was there a date that you had to have the 1,000 lifts done by because it was going to be shipped to America, or did you do it
No,
well before?
no, well, it got shipped to America. I took it down. I drove it down. I got a shot. I got a shot of a van from a friend of mine. And I drove it down to Dice. It's next to Aberdeen.
Okay.
Um, to a crate company, and they on the May the 5th, and they built it into the crate. Well, they built the crate round the stone, so it'd be more
Okay.
secure. Um, and then that was on May the 5th and Monday. And then on Wednesday, May the 7th, it was then picked up by a courier service who took it to either Glasgow or Edinburgh. I think it must have been Edinburgh. Uh, and then on the Saturday, it was then flown to Boston. Then it arrived on a Sunday where it got picked up. And then was some, and then by Eric Calves,
Yeah. Yep.
he
Yep.
picked up for us. He drove down and picked it up, and he kept it at his house until in the crate until I arrived there, and then me and a few others, David included, went down and picked it up. Well,
Yeah.
put it in the back of his van again, his truck, and then he delivered it for us, and then you were there. We took it off at
Right.
the
Right.
Milford Games.
Yeah. Yeah. Josh actually told me that he was in Ireland when it arrived in Boston.
Aye, so he got in touch with Cabs, and he went in. It was
Yeah.
really good to have it go and pick up. He kind of took the
Yeah.
reins and went and picked it up for us.
Yeah, wasn't there going to be a problem like if you can't pick it up by this certain date, like we need someone to sign for this to be able to leave it
No,
here?
what
Or,
it was, the airport was going to keep it at £300 a night
oh, that's
for
it. Yeah.
storage.
Yeah. Oh my
So
God.
Cabs went down and picked it up in the
Yeah.
afternoon before it got put away in storage, which would have been
Gosh.
£300 a night, which is
Oof, yeah.
ludicrous, or $300 a night. But back to the question, there wasn't we only got like the sorted out when it was going to fly and stuff like the week before.
Oh,
Whenever
really?
I had a
Okay.
date and I sorted out, there was people working on it and stuff, and there was a woman from customs that Josh knows, she was helping work and stuff, and there was a courier service from Glasgow that worked with the customs place in America for logistics and that.
Okay.
But I kept getting emails about when it was getting created and when to pick it up and everything all the time. I was like, didn't I kidding
Yeah.
you? But it was like, so that everything was kind of in place, but it was just like the date was never set until like the week before.
Okay.
And then I kind of phoned up and says, we can go do it now. So I phoned up the crate company and says, when can I come do it? And he says, well, uh, come do, we're busy with this, blah, blah, blah. He said, our job's like whatever days it was. And I said, well, I want to take it down on Monday. And he says, oh, it's fine. Take it down and we'll get it crated up, and then we just pay it when it's done,
Right.
But there wasn't really a date where I had to get the 1,000 lists finished. It was just as soon as I could. I actually
Okay.
thought it was going to take like maybe the end of April before I finished it, and then we'd have to kind of rush the stone getting away
Mm,
after that, because it might have even been into the first week of May. I was giving to myself to finish the 1,000 lifts, but no, by the 14th of March, I'd finished it
okay.
because I was just like maybe like a man possessed. I was good at lifting it all the time, and
Yeah.
you know, it was non-stop. Again, there even it was raining. I thought, well, I want to get my like 30 lifts there or 40 lifts today, so I'm gonna go and do it because then say I was like 30 or 40 away from getting the next 100, like the milestone there. I would just go out in snow, rain. I would just go and lift it,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and just get what I wanted to do, just so I can break that barrier and then go into the next barrier.
Mm. Did you know how much the stone weighed when you were lifting it, or did you find out when they built the crate and were going to send it over to
Oh no,
America?
I weighed it like a year ago at
Okay.
121. But I mean, it wasn't until like a year ago, or maybe a little bit more than that, maybe 2 years ago, when I actually knew the weight of it.
Okay.
But I mean, I trained with it all that time from 2011. I never knew how heavy it was, um, but I just kept trying to lift it,
Yeah.
kept going. And then eventually I put it on my shoulder and stuff. But even that was back then it was a challenge, It was like maybe a year after I got it, it was on my shoulder, I think, maybe 2012 something. But it was only I did it once, and then I did it again for like 6 years after or something.
Oh, really?
you know, I well, then I'm not sure if I even tried it, kind of park and all that time. Um, but then it was only like a year or so ago when I weighed it. I think
Okay.
at 121. And then I went and got a new set of scales as well, weighing scales, just so I can weigh it again, just with an R set, and make sure I got the same
Same weight.
weight.
Okay. Yeah.
Especially when we decided to put it over to the States. I went and bought an hour weighing scales and I just didn't weigh it again and I got the same weight again,
Yep.
121.
Yep. So when you guys decided to send this over to America, what was the goal? What's the goal for this stone to come to America and be here? For is it for people to use and to lift at Highland Games? What do you want the legacy of this stone to be?
I want the the people to lift it and I want there to be like hundreds of people who have lifted this stone. Because right now there's been like maybe before I went away to America there was like a a under 10 can half it can a dozen maybe lifted it. Um that was I got a few people over at the house before I went away because I got the book to sign and stuff as well for it. It's got its own lifting history recording book, so people can sign that. Um, but I would like to have that book filled up and a second book started
Yeah.
uh, over the years. But because that stone, I suppose, means more to me than can almost anything apart from my kids.
Wow.
Um,
Hmm.
then because it wouldn't have, like I said before, it wouldn't have for that stone, my life right now would be completely different. You know, I wouldn't be known as a stone man. I wouldn't be who I am. I could be like a big fat beast lying in a ditch somewhere. I don't know. I don't know what kind of direction my life would have taken.
Yeah.
It was never stone lifting because stone lifting gave me something to focus on in my
Hmm.
life. It gave me something to like be hungry for, for my own personal challenges.
Right.
Um, but most of all, it kind of gave me like a new sense of who I really am.
Mm,
You know, give me somewhere to put my strength. I learned like the historic stones. I started learning about history,
yep.
so I was growing, and it really made me who I was as a human being.
Mm,
Made me a lifting the stones and actually put myself through a physical challenge and have to train and push myself to go and train and actually then achieving the lifting of a heavier stone that I maybe couldn't even pick off the ground before.
right.
It's going from maybe I'll pick up a stone up to do all the training I've got to do, um, and then working out what kind of training I need to do and working out how the body works and everything. Um, and then lifting a stone and up, maybe up in the lap or up at the chest. It's that sense of self gratification that you get.
Yes.
Uh, can I learnt like self respect through doing that. Uh, and now because I've able to train my body and my mind really to lift that kind of lift the stone, or lift a heavier stone, or lift a more upward stone. I can then I feel now I can set my goals and do anything in life. I mean, when I was at school, I didn't really leave school with much of an education, because back then, well, when I was at school and that, didn't really get the help you wanted that you can get these days, and then so I didn't really leave much. But then since lifting stones, I've written books, I've trained hundreds of people. Um, I've learnt to speak to people in a crowd. Okay, when I was at school, I was a very nervous person. I didn't like to like speak to even two or three people, you know. And I couldn't stand up in class and read a book or an English class when you had to write a story. Kind of hated stand up and reading. I was all like jittery and nervous and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but now I could go and through the confidence I've got myself, kind of the self confidence and stuff I've had from stone lifting.
Hmm.
I could speak to a room with 1,000 people. I can stand up in the middle of the microphone and speak, answer questions, and
Yeah.
uh, not be nervous, not be shy, or uh, re- kind of retreat back into myself and that.
Right.
Um, I've got all this self confidence through stone lifting,
Wow.
and I would like other people to get that as well. And through lifting Clach Fear Alba and it being an awkward object to lift in the way it is, maybe other people could get that kind of a bit of that same self confidence in themselves
Yeah.
through doing it. You know,
Absolutely.
it would be great to see the book filled up with hundreds of names and everyone who's had a shot of lifting a stone that came from a in the ground in a building site in Scotland to
Right.
now
Right.
being like 16 years later being in America, being lifted at Highland Games by novices and professionals. You know,
Yep.
um, newcomers, and it's just it's an amazing kind of story. You know, forever came through since people could walk on this earth. People have loved to see a feat of strength, and to actually go and take part and do it themselves, it gives them like a little high, you know.
Yep.
It makes them feel something can they've done something they never thought was possible within
Right.
themselves.
Right.
Which then they can hopefully go and use that same feeling and put towards other things that they do in their life,
Yeah.
like get a job or doing any kind of daily tasks. They think, well, uh, that's going to be a struggle, but can they can think of the way they felt, or they can just keep that feeling in themselves that they got from lifting a stone.
Mm-hmm.
And they go and put it towards like doing other stuff and think, well, I can do it. I did that. I can go
Yep.
and do this. You know,
Right. Yep. Exactly.
it just gives them that self confidence in themselves, and then they
Yeah.
can go and apply it to other stuff in their life. 'Cause that's what I've done. You know, I've applied that self confidence through stone lifting to everything I've done. Job interviews, can to speaking to people, can all sorts of stuff. Well, doing this just now, you know.
Yeah.
So
And that's something I was going to ask you, and you maybe have pretty much already answered that. But if there was something, if there was a message that you could give anybody that lifts the stone, what would be that message?
I would say enjoy the lift, enjoy the experience, feel, can embrace that feeling you get when you lift this heavy and awkward and unmovable object. You know, just embrace that feeling you get from it, and just enjoy the atmosphere of people
Yeah,
who are going to be around you. Um, and then just kind of use that same confidence and feeling you get from doing that, lifting that stone, and bring it to other aspects of your life.
yeah,
You know, even use the memory of lifting it, or even just try and hold on to that feeling you get, that rush came from when you picked it up to the, oh, I managed to get it up. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
um, can I use just keep that feeling and use it in everyday life for everyday tasks, anything you do. You know,
yeah,
but just in being part of the culture, just enjoy it, and just know that you can do the impossible.
yeah.
If you want to do it, you can do it. You know, just believe in yourself, um, and give it a go.
Excellent. Exactly. And so what I really love about this is that we are creating a new historical stone. Like this stone is now getting history placed upon it, where 100 years from now and 200 years from now, this will be one of the historic stones that people will seek out to lift.
That would be that would be the ultimate goal. You
Yeah.
know, especially because it's got a good history. It's quite a rich history already.
Right.
Behind it, especially in from myself, we being um, the singular stone that started this whole stonelifting journey for me.
Right.
Um, so we have never found that building site that day, I would never have read about Limber Stone. I would have never have met Peter Martin. You know, I would never have lifted. I mean, I might have lifted Limber Stone now if it was new things being the way they are. I might have, I might never have even been interested or even trained to do these things.
Sure.
Um, and then I've got the 1,000 lifts behind it, and the fact that it's went to America, and
Yep.
then hopefully hundreds of people. Well, it must have been like 40, 50, or maybe more lifted at the No Fame Games,
Yep. Yeah.
and June the 13th there,
Yep.
the No Fame Games NFG. It must have been there was a lot of people lifted it then, especially when it was like inaugurated, and then
Yes.
everyone came into the field and lifted
Yeah.
it in front of everyone else, and I mean the crowd loved it. You know,
Yes.
everyone was behind everyone else, um, and it'd be great when I'm long gone, unless I become a Highlander and I'm immortal and I can stay here to hopefully 300 years and see it still get lifted. Like that'd be
I
cool,
love it.
and I can say I remember the day I found that stone.
That's awesome.
There can be only one stone, man. There
That's right.
can be only one. But it'd be amazing to uh, like when I'm like 90 years old and I'm in the old folks' home, my slippers on, my cup of tea, and drooling, and I'm rocking back and forth. And I hear someone said, someone's nephew or son comes in and says, "Oh, I think he just lifted the Clach Fear Alba." I said, "Oh, I picked me up, like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I'll get my going, like, give my new lease of life when I'm like 90,
Absolutely.
you know." It'd be great to hear, like, when I'm an old man myself, that people are still lifting it, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, that'll be the goal.
Yeah. I invite anybody who wants to come and challenge themselves to lift this stone on July 18th at Look Park at the Glasgow Lands Scottish Festival. It will be there.
The good thing is, it's called Glasgow Lands, and of course, Glasgow is in Scotland, and it was the logistics company in Glasgow that helped transport the stone in the first place. So
Wow.
you know, so it kind of everything is kind of tying together. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's maybe it's meant to be in the fabric of time that it's, you know,
Right. Right.
the stone, the history of this stone and being what it is now was woven into the fabric of time, and it was meant to be,
Yeah. It's very cool.
because there's a lot of kind of coincidences uh, with it,
Well, thank you, Martin, again for taking the time to share the story of this stone. And we're absolutely going to continue allowing its history to grow. Before we end, can you just share how people can find your latest book? You just wrote, you have the stone lifting book that you wrote with Dr. Bill Crawford, and then you've just published a new book. Can you speak about that quickly?
Yeah, it's called Strength: A Life Changing Adventure. It came out. It was published on in February this year,
Okay.
and it's all about it's about the adventure that strength can take us on, and how it can make us who we are. And there's lots of it's going about strongman, the history of strongman, strong woman. It's quite an in-depth analysis about the history of strongman. There's interviews that I've with people that have interviewed either face to face or through video calls like this.
Yep.
Sadruna Savicka, Slug Stokeman, Jill Mills,
Oh, nice.
lots of people, Odd Hogan. Then there's a good bit in there about the Arnold Schwarzenegger Classic, because I interviewed, I was lucky enough to speak to Jim Lorimer, who was
Wow.
the co-founder with Arnold Schwarzenegger for the Arnold Sports Festival in
Yep.
Ohio.
Yep.
So sat down with him for like an hour and a half through a call like this, and that was, I think, one of the best moments of my life, because it was just great getting to speak to him.
Yeah.
And Zajunas has always been my idol and strongman. So
Yeah.
I interviewed him twice for the book, two different occasions, kind of about a month apart. So that was really good. It's really great that these folk are wanting to give me their time,
Yeah.
because I wrote about their story to hopefully give inspiration to other people.
Yes.
People who are going through a really hard time, they can read the book and hopefully find a bit of inspiration through the stories that I've written about other people through interviews with the people themselves, athletes themselves, both men and women. And there's Highland Games there. There's a good bit about tug of war. There's a good chapter about grip strength and how to improve your grip strength, and the basic anatomy for getting the muscles in the wrist, the just so you can alliterate how the exercises that you do in the book, you find in a book, why they're done, because the muscles are the way you can in the position they're in, and why these muscles are important to grip.
Okay.
And then there's a thing in there, card drawn in there as well for the make your own loadable Thomas Inch dumbbell. If you want to
Oh,
train with
nice.
that, there's a card draftsman drawings that I did, and I did quite a lot of 3D card drawings of the implements that I used in the World's Strongest Man for pressing, because I mean, so
Oh,
many
wow.
amazing implements in there.
Yeah.
And there's a great big section about all the different implements used as a pressing for pressing events in the World's Strongest Man from 1977 onwards. And there's stories in there how some of the guys came in and uh, they were maybe the underdogs, but they did like amazing in the overhead press, just through their pure determination of wanting to do the best they could for themselves,
Right.
Um, so all these stories are in here for people to read, and there's a bit at the back about the end of the book about stone lifting as well, and David Webster and Peter Martin, quite a lot of hopefully stuff up, interesting stories and things that people will find interesting in there. So there's
Great.
something in there for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds excellent. Well, thank you again, Martin. This was great, and I really appreciate you taking the time to do this.
Thank you for listening to the Stonewall podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave us a review. To stay connected with Jonathan, follow him on Instagram at Wolfgar in the Stone. Be sure to spell Wolfgar W-U-L-F-G-A-R.